Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers recap and reaction to the Pittsburgh Steelers' big Sunday night win, 37-15 over the New York Jets. Let's talk about it. As always, before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Would really appreciate that. And yes, picked this game wrong yet again. Not my finest year, but happy to be wrong about this one, and happy to see this offense get 37 points, most points in a victory since week 6 of the 2020 season. So that is where we have to start here with the Steelers offense. Russell Wilson's debut, rusty early. There was that one bad series on, I think, an RPO that he missed Calvin, and just dealt with some of the pressure early and just a little bit of inaccuracy. But you knew there was going to be rust in this one. No way there's a guy playing in his first regular season game since Christmas Eve last year going to come out and just fire darts that are on time and rhythmic the entire way. So you had to proceed with that assumption in mind. It played out, and I think the team warmed up quicker than honestly what I probably expected them to. So Wilson, overall, I think the mantra and one of the reasons why Pittsburgh went to Wilson over Fields was to really get that vertical game working. Not that Fields was incapable of it, not that they hadn't hit some of those deep balls before, but you didn't see it consistently enough, and that kind of softens the run game, makes teams really need to play too high, changes their personality some, and Pittsburgh opened it up with George Pickens with a couple of vertical catches, Pat Freiermuth with one. It was a crosser to Calvin Austin for 36, just hitting those more consistently, more frequently than Pittsburgh overall had been this season, not having to do that from behind either, being able to do that largely in a close game or from ahead. So it was interesting. Whenever you play a mobile quarterback like Justin Fields, you probably have to play more zone coverage because you don't want to lose vision of where that guy's at. Against a guy like Wilson, you might feel more comfortable playing man because you're not worried about him taking off and running and doing quite the things that Fields can do. But when you play that much man, it opens up those vertical one-on-one opportunities, and you trust a guy like George Pickens to make those plays, and he did routinely in this one. So you look at the big downfield plays, a lot of man coverage. DBs have their back turned. They don't really get to have vision on the football, and Pickens goes out there and adjusts to the football and makes the play. Same with Freiermuth on his great one-handed catch. So I thought there was a lot of value for that. There's a stat that I think PFF has about how good Wilson was on play action, 10 of 16, one touchdown, really strong numbers. And I had said this on the Friday podcast that I thought the one real benefit that Wilson could immediately bring is play action and selling play action and carrying out his fakes. Now, some of them were just very day one install boots they would run. Torn to Washington, I think he had 4 catches off of just boot action the entire time, including Wilson's first reception for 15 yards. And so it wasn't all play action, take the vertical shot, but there was an element of that. And so it was really good to see play action effectively used because it had been used a lot under Arthur Smith, which is his hallmark, but it had been super, super ineffective. One of my biggest critiques of Fields was just lack of success off a play pass. And so there was the one sack they took on Max Protect where Broderick Jones got beat by Will McDonald, but overall the production seemed to be much better off of play fakes, off of play action than it had been before. And the run game got going in this one. Najee Harris, back-to-back 100-yard games, and a lot of credit to Ryan McCollum and this O-line that's dealt with injuries and different people and trying to stop and start and have continuity when there's moving and shaking parts. And Pittsburgh just wore them down in the second half of the Jets. They really were just kind of feeling it late in this one. So you really impose your will. Had some success running early. Najee Harris, 18-yard gain on, I think, his first carry of the game. So he's shown some quickness. He's shown some more burst. He's shown more explosive runs. I think the team blocking overall has been better, even on some pass plays. Think about George Pickens putting his hand in the pile on that Pat Freiermuth catch in the flat to help Freiermuth finish that one off. Pickens, of course, himself, big game, first touchdown of the season. So all good marks around in that regard. But this is, and I wasn't as critical of the Tomlin decision to Russell Wilson, but I said I would have stuck with Justin Fields. But I also knew his reasons for why he's trying Russ, and he wanted to see, could this offense take that next step? Could it move a rung up the ladder? You get 37 points in your first game with just one game, long season to go, but that's what Pittsburgh has been looking for. Defensively, it was a tough start. A lot of missed tackles on Breece Hall, and that's a guy that's a real core part of the Jets' passing game. He came into this one, 26 receptions, tied second on the team, and just could not tackle that guy early in space. And so that was certainly a sore spot early in this one. But Beanie Bishop, man, hats off to him. I was really concerned going into this game. Got a Hall of Fame quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. You got a lot of talent. You're 3-4 deep at receiver with Wilson and Lazard and add Devontae Adams. Would Bishop be targeted and struggle in this one? And he was targeted, but did not struggle in this one. 2 interceptions off of Rodgers. Only the second rookie ever to pick Rodgers off twice in a game. First undrafted rookie to ever do it. And they were big-time plays. Both led to touchdowns. The one end of the first half, a great one-handed snag. Puts Pittsburgh in relative scoring range, and they go down there. Wilson finds Pickens for a touchdown, make it 15-13 at the half. And then his second one, he said he did not get a hand on the football, but you get zone depth, you squeeze that throw, maybe obstruct Wilson's view a little bit, put your hand up, and then track the ball, catch it off the ricochet, and take it back the other way. And so close to a pick six, got down to the 1-yard line. Pittsburgh punches it in. So 2 big-time plays from Bishop with that really tough game in Week 5 against Dallas. He's been improving since, and yeah, I mean, you talk about just some big-time moments off a Hall of Famer that is as good as it gets. And then just overall, Pittsburgh adjusting in the second half. That's kind of been the theme of their season. They've generally been strong in the second half, Dallas game aside, but Rodgers and this Jets offense did nothing. They were shut out in the second half. They turned the ball over on downs. There just really wasn't anything there for them. I thought Highsmith had a good game off the edge. Deshaun Elliott, physical, just built to be a Steelers strong safety. He's been such a vital pickup. Porter was clamping vertical routes. It was just really solid play in the second half after being pretty sloppy in the first half. The pressure wasn't always there. Rodgers got the ball out quickly. They were, of course, like all teams do, doubling and chipping TJ Watt, but just really button up in the second half, create those splash plays. And, Devontae Adams, no catches in the second half, so there really was no impact allowed in that third and fourth quarter. And we got to talk about special teams. Man, this might have been as good a collective special teams performance in all phases as I've seen in Pittsburgh in a long, long time. And that's not a put down, it's just a really high bar they set in this one. Chris Boswell making his field goals. Waitman had a punt inside the 10. Got great backspin to land that one at the 7. You get a field goal block by Dean Lowry. That was huge. You had the one by Minka that got called back. I think it was a pretty bad call to get him for leveraging, but okay, won't count that one. Great kick coverage out there with Jeremiah Moon and Connor Hayward and Jonathan Ward making stops. Terrell Edmonds, forced a muff punt that rolled out of bounds. Pierre knocked the ball out, also went out of bounds. So, top to bottom in this regard for special teams, it was just perfect. And man, Pittsburgh is just so good at blocking field goals and punts. It's kind of a lost start. It's harder to do with some of the rule changes in terms of the leveraging and just contact with the long snapper and alignment and those types of things. But Pittsburgh, man, they have, a block punt this year. Officially 2 blocked field goals, not counting the Minka one. Last year, they blocked 3 punts. A couple years before that, they blocked 2. They blocked a couple of the field goals in times past. So this is a team that is a nightmare for opposing special teams coordinators. You talk about hidden elements of the game, a kicker that can kick from anything inside 60 that you trust implicitly, a rush team that can get a punt block and change the tone of a game like the Raiders game last week. Teams that can deny you points inside the red zone, like Pittsburgh, not only for defensive takeaways, but field goal blocks against Dallas and now against the Jets. So just huge moments and plays that most teams only very rarely make that becomes routine and expectation in Pittsburgh, and that is a difference maker. So overall, really quality win. You got to tip your hat to Mike Tomlin. That was a bold decision to go with Russell Wilson. And we're one game in. We got to see this thing through. There's going to be some good games, some bad games. And I know that anytime Wilson does error. Anytime this team loses, which they will at some point along the way, that critique will come back in. But you understand the vision Tomlin had when he made the switch to look to see, could this offense do the things they did on Sunday night? Could they produce 37 points and, win in comfortable fashion and have a passing game that really felt, it felt fluid in some ways. There still has some work to be done there. It was certainly a lot of vertical type stuff, so I don't want to pretend like it was super, super crisp even at its best in this one. But an offense that could open up something different and something new, and you're seeing flashes of that for a guy in Russ Wilson. That's first game of the season, first game in 10 months essentially in regular season action, and you hope you can build on that. You would expect to build on that going forward, and that's the really exciting part. So overall, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.